Hello, happy Mercury Day. Hello. Before I started this video, I was staring at a starling that was standing outside on a post for some time, and I was thinking about how, like, last year around this time, one of my cat friends, Bunny, caught a starling. The starling was like already like on the floor or whatever, and she ran up to the starling. Luckily, I got to both of them before she devoured the poor thing. I think the starling's like wing was just like a little injured or something of this nature. I ended up making like a nest for the starling, and when I went to check on the starling the next day and whatnot, starling was gone. So I'm hoping that it recovered. I ended up one. It was like at 6 p.m. at like night or later, and what else happened? I couldn't have taken the starling anywhere because when I looked up online, like if I can take them to like the emergency places, and everything of this nature, they're like how they're considered like an invasive species or whatever. So like they don't really like just help them for free or something of that nature. It was which I thought was complete bullshit because, you know, I'm thinking right now, what species is much more invasive, the starlings or fucking humans? Yeah, yeah. It's not the goddamn starlings. But that's just like such like a weird thing to me. Can't help them out because they're considered invasive. What the hell? But anyway, yesterday I was a very synchronistic day. Every day is a synchronistic day. But I remember in my video of yesterday, I started off by raving about how much I love the sun and how passionate I am about the sun. And, the sun carried on being a theme for yesterday. The sun is a theme every single fucking day. That being, when I was like on my walk to the store, I was just thinking about, the sun. And when I got to the store, the cart that I picked up, it had like a piece of paper on it. Not a, like it was like not like a tag or something. And on the tag, it quite literally said it was like literally just the sun, but in Spanish, El Sol. God, I know I sound very fucking American when I say that. Whatever the fuck off. So yeah, that was on it, and then literally the first song that was playing when I got into the store was "Soak Up the Sun." I'm like, hello, okay. And then like last night when I was having a nice session with my teacher, Lucifer. More so towards the end, the sun was a theme yet again, and um, in one of my decks, because I have some, like I have multiple, in one of my decks, the last card that I split at was the sun, and then my hand slightly grazed over my other deck, and literally the sun card like slipped out. So the sun is a very prominent theme for me on a day to day. But I just thought that was like a very beautiful thing yesterday, how synchronistic that all was. Oh my god, also, I just wanted to give a shout out to the crows this morning for really waking me up this morning. Four beautiful crows, and I just saw one not too long ago. Initially, I first woke up because I felt my cramps beginning to amp up, and once upon a time, I used to want to fuck around and find out to see how much pain I can take before I take a painkiller, but these days I just don't have it in me. I don't really want to fucking know. So the just beginning to feel the cramps rising, shall I say, is what really woke me up first sleep. Then I went back to sleep, and I was having a hard time getting up because once you get real comfortable, honey, it's hard to get back up. But I heard the crows and I jolted up because just hearing them, I jolt up for the crows as if they're my national anthem. You know. So shout out to the crows for waking me up this morning. But yeah, the sun was such a prominent theme. It not was is a prominent theme, but I just thought how beautiful it was, how you know it all happened so synchronistically yesterday. You know, um, and I was just thinking to myself like last night and everything's nature. What does it mean to just embody the sun? What does it mean to be the sun? And all that jazz. And naturally, the main thing that I can think of right now is being authentic, and that's something that I am also very passionate about, and that's something that that's something that what shall I say? That's something that's very important for me to each and every single day, because to be authentic as well too is to, be true to myself. And who else to be true to but myself? Because if I'm not being true to myself, then I cannot show up and be true to others as well too. But you think of the sun as well too, or just like in tarot terms as well too, right? What does the sun represent apart from, perhaps just being authentic? Of course, optimistic, but it also represents like clarity, right? The truth, I shall say, in a sense that depending on your perspective or how you're looking, or depending like on a situation, sometimes, yeah, like with the moon card, you might think of more so like deception, illusions. The moon card is so much more than that. It's obviously, I don't view the moon in such like a negative thing or whatever, but I'm just saying like contrasting the two more or less here right now, right? The sun more or less is what really sheds light to things, and for me as well to be the sun as well too, like of course to be authentic as well too would also mean to like to shine light on all of my shadows and to face them and to integrate with them and to embrace them, and not to run from them, or what shall I say, not to find security or safety in them. Not when I say I shouldn't find safety or security within like my shadows, I mean is to see them but not like kind of work through them or something of that nature. You know what I mean? Like, because or just like kind of like help it evolve. If that's like making sense, it better, bitch. I'm getting really hot, but yeah, things of that nature. You know what I mean? The sun is such a beautiful, beautiful thing, and the sun's actually kind of coming out so much more now. It's not as hot as it was yesterday, today, but nonetheless, I was still able to go sit outside in this, and have my coffee and everything this night, which is really, really nice. But yeah, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about like, like last night I was thinking about like what it really means to be the sun. But yeah, like as I was saying, just to be like authentic and true to myself, because the sun also truth, clarity, all the same. You know what I mean? So authentic to myself, true to myself. To be the sun, like I just said, is to shed or shine a light on all the parts of myself that perhaps I feel as though I need to hide. You know, in one of my decks, my Paulina tarot, the sun is depicted by a girl like kind of in a field of sunflowers, and she's like on a bird. It looks like a hummingbird and just soaring up. And that's just like how I feel, to be honest with you. And also as well too, I'm like realizing whatever, all the reads and whatnot, that like, not everybody deserves my sun. Not everybody deserves my sun, because if I continuously, what's the word, surround myself with people who are only, how do I say it? If I'm surrounding myself with people, who are only seeking to take my light and use it as a fuel for their own, that will only put me in a position where my own fuel, my own sun, my own light more or less dims. And as well too, if I'm around people, right, where I have to dim myself, you know, for their own comfort, then that simply is not a space where I'm meant to be. Um, right? It's not my problem and it's not my fault that my own sun irritates their own darkness or their own shadows. It's simply not my fault. Um, it's up to each and every person to do the work necessary for themselves. And, I'm realizing as well too, that's simply not my job to do it for them. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, it's not my job. And like, I don't need to apologize for how uncomfortable it might make certain people. That's not my problem, right? It's simply not my fucking problem. But apart from that, to be the sun as well too means to for me to actively choose each and every day to view life um, in a half glass full perspective. Um, it's easy, to view life and to approach things in life from a much more pessimistic kind of mindset. It's easy to do that because it keeps you in your comfort zone, but it requires much more work to shift a perspective to see all the beauty and to see how great things actually are going because things are going well. Everything is beautiful and but to really view things as such as well too quite literally I would say requires much more bravery and much more confidence within yourself and just because like I said, by viewing life as such as well too takes you outside of your comfort zone. It's easy to, oh, it's not gonna work out, or like all that shit, and but it's also just like very fucking boring. And as well to whatever is happening within your mind is what will be reflected in your reality. you know so bitch, you better do the work and change how you view things, bitch, because there comes a point where you gotta stop blaming, and I'm talking to myself too. Like, there comes a point where you gotta stop blaming outside of everything outside of you, and to be like, okay, girl, like what role am I playing here? Because you know, I know that some people like view Earth as a prison. I know some people say, yeah, I know people view Earth as something like that, or just like a prison or something of this nature, but I don't know. I generally don't see it like that, like at all. Um, Honestly, I just view my experience here, as just like a learning experience. Like as I say, I'm a student. I'm here to learn, um, and learning can be something very much fun. Um, you know, because viewing life from a position of a student, like think of like a page and everything of that nature, right? That constantly leaves you in a state of being curious. I don't know. I'm also just like, as I say all the time, I'm just like a Gemini, and I'm just like a very curious person anyway. And there's so many things to uncover, so many things to learn. So it's hard to get bored. You know what I mean? You know, Seagull. But yeah, I was thinking about that as well too, like last night as well too, or this morning, like around like 3 in the because I didn't go to bed so early last night. But yeah, it's so interesting to me that some people like view it as such. Um, I don't know. I don't see it like that. I don't view Earth as a prison. I'm not gonna say that things aren't set up in a certain way to make it be like a prison, but it is whatever you make it, right? But I don't know. It's just so beautiful. Everything is just so beautiful, bitch. So I don't know. Yesterday when I was at the store again, I was like in an aisle, and there was this girl who picked something up to show her mother, and she kept calling out her mother, multiple times to like look at the thing that she was trying to show her. The mom just kept ignoring her, and was just like doing something like on her phone. And eventually, like the little girl just put the thing back and just kind of just stopped trying to show her mother. And I felt really bad, because that's kind of a situation and a feeling that I know all too well. It is what like I'm not. What I'm saying is, I feel bad because it's just that like I don't know the little girl, nor do I know the mother, but I mean, for a kid, for a child, their most formative years and everything of this nature, if that's something that just happens continuously, just being ignored all the time and disregarded and everything that nature, you know, that can have an impact on a kid. You know what I mean? And I just kind of just like felt like a little bad for the like the little girl because she was like very excited about what she was showing her mother, and only for her mother to just kind of ignore her. You know, I don't think a kid should feel like that because, like I was saying, as well too, like those are their, when they're young, they're like mold, so those early experiences kind of mold them or mold their perspective and everything of that nature. You know, I just felt like a little bad for the girly pop. You know, because like you could just see the shift from like the beginning when she was excited, and then you could see the shift when she put it back and just kind of just gave up. Like when she started calling her mom, she was excited, and more towards the end when she was calling her mom, she was more quiet. Not once did the mother lift up her head from the phone. I feel like there was like some other stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I'm not sure what else I feel to talk about. Really, I just want to talk about about the amazing synchronicities of yesterday with the sun, with the beautiful, 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 beautiful sun. I feel like the sun, but I can definitely also recognize all the ways in which I am mercurial for sure. And I love Saturn. Hmm. There are so much more things that I wanted to talk about, but it's all like well, I think that's all that probably needs to be said. I don't know. Oh yeah, being like on my period and everything of this nature. The Pilates session that I had yesterday has my body sore, but like in a nice kind of way, if you know what I mean. And I'm like, here sitting thinking to myself, like, do I want to show up to the mat today? Um, I kind of do, but I think I'll just practice some yoga today. Oh my god, some nice stretches will do my body so good with how sore it's feeling. You know what I mean? Having some form of exercise, some form of movement as a part of my daily routine is so therapeutic, and it does so many wonders for me. It's so nice. And even on the days where I'm not wanting to show up, those are the days where I know I probably should be going the most. Not in the sense of not listening to my body and recognizing the cues and when, like, I'm being asked to just probably like chill out or like relax or anything of this nature. But the reward in the end, of just showing up to the mat is amazing. Um, I don't know. Like it's so amazing as well too. Just like the little steps that you take into just taking care of yourself, taking care of your body, of your vessel, bodysuit, whatever the hell you want to call it, girl. It's so amazing how just like those little steps can kind of trickle into something so much bigger, and like you kind of just want to just continuously keep doing it. Like you want to continuously keep just taking care of yourself in so many other ways, and it's just so fun and it's just so nice, and it really helps with really like actually giving a fuck about yourself and like loving yourself, and it's really really nice. It's really really nice. um yes, I would like to end this off by saying, I don't know. Um, I do want to say though, I do want to say how grateful I am for my teachers. That being when I address them, I say Lord Lucifer and I say Lord Azazel. I feel like a little shy when I say it out loud to whatever. I don't know why, but those are my teachers. They are my teachers, and I'm so grateful for them. Um, really recognizing, I'm like really beginning. Well, not like only now beginning, but as time goes on, like I'm really seeing, all the benefits and everything this nature of, you know, shall I say, my lessons, my classes and whatnot. But I'm so grateful for the two of them. Like that's how I like to learn. I like learning in that kind of sense and whatnot. I like to read, but listen, if I'm reading something and it's not like if it's not putting me in a place where I can like actually like if I'm not using my imagination when I'm reading, I get really fucking bored. I really do. So when it comes to like the kind of stuff that I'm interested in, I do best by just fucking around and finding out and just learning through those experiences, to be honest with you. It's just much more fun for me that way. That's just like how I roll, girl. I will say, if anything, that feels like a much more Page of Wands kind of vibe. It's the experience. It's the I need to learn through the experience. Okay. Yeah. Um, but yeah, like it's really nice, and I appreciate that. Um, well, initially, anyway, when I reached out to them in the first place, I wasn't even expecting them to do the work or anything for me. That was never my intention. But it's just nice to have the guidance, and it's nice to have the support. I really appreciate it. I really like do like love it. You know what I mean? It's very nice. The goddamn sirens, I swear. But yeah, it's like very, very nice. So I kind of just wanted to give them a shout out. Very grateful for my dearest Lord Lucifer and my dearest Lord Azazel. It's really, really fun. It's really, really nice. But, apart from that as well, too, nature in general is my teacher as well, too. Death is my teacher. Death is another teacher. Nature, all aspects, because Lord Lucifer and Lord Azazel are aspects of nature as well, too. You know? So nature in general, is simply my teacher. It's quite nice and it's really, really fun. And, I'm in a position now of really recognizing how in- important it is to know something and actually enact on it. You know what I mean? Like, actually, like, you know? Because it's one thing to just like know something, but it's another to know something and actually like work with it, like actually like practice that. And I'm seeing that it's very, very nice. Is it always going to be comfortable? Probably not, but you know. Oh, in general though, wrapping this up as I living in New York is all it's fun and all and everything does nature, but it's just so fucking loud sometimes. It's just so freaking loud. When I had family that like lived in Alabama, whatever, like it used to be so nice to go there and just the silence and the peace. The last time was like I was like in Alabama, I was going to bed like by like the latest 10 and waking up at like fucking sunrise or before. Excuse me, like that's just like so much like more my vibe. I'm a city girl in the sense of like, yeah, like I like having like a coffee shop like close by where I can go have like a nice lavender matcha with oat milk. You know what I mean? Like that's like the vibe, but I prefer peace and quiet. I prefer peace and quiet, you know what I mean? And just being surrounded by animals, the water, and the sun. But I just don't like how loud it is here sometimes. But I'm so grateful to be here anyway because it's a blessing to know that I can just sit here, like right here on this couch, and look outside the window and see freaking eagles, see freaking falcons, vultures, hawks, crows, ravens, cardinals, blue jays. The gackles are back. Yes, this is their time. They're back over here, and that means it's spring. So that's very nice, you know what I mean? But it's nice to know that I can like literally look outside of my window and see birds of prey. That's pretty cool. That's pretty fucking amazing. So nonetheless, I'm very grateful for that experience. But okay, I feel like I am just dragging this out. No, I'm not dragging it out. I'm not dragging it out. I do want to say this was also like on my mind like last night as well too. Is I don't like how some people make it seem as though like, you know, having a strong like intuition or some psychic or having some or having psychic abilities is something that's exclusive and everything of this nature. I don't like it when people do that because it's something that we all have access to, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's, you know, as I say, it's like a muscle, right? The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. Um, it's not something that, you know, like I said, it's not an exclusive thing. And sure, I think I will say sure, I will say that like, you know, it might just be more prominent for people perhaps or whatever, but you know, I will say perhaps it being less prominent for people sometimes as well too can just sometimes be due to just like trauma and things of that nature that kind of or just situations where you know you've been where you just kind of continuously like ignored it or you know what I mean, but it's within like in everybody, you know what I mean. But yeah, I don't like when people act like it's something exclusive, you know, like it's just something that you know takes time and effort, you know what I mean. Time and effort. And I think that what it is, sometimes people just expect it just to just be just right there and just to have it without even putting in the work. You know what I mean? And that's just simply just not the case, you know. Um, you know, yeah, I was just like thinking about like that or whatever. Because you know, I was gonna be like as I say, but as as we all know, we're all gods. And we have access to so many things more than we realize. But you know, it's a good thing to put in the work to attain these things for yourself. And it's up to you how you decide you want to use that. You know, it really is up to you and how you decide to use that knowledge, use that power, because you have your own free will. You are more than welcome to do whatever you want to do, right? You're so more than welcome to do that. There and it's just like I said in my other video yesterday as well too. There's simply good and bad apples within everything. You know what I mean? But you know, you have your own moral compass. You know what is morally correct or right. Well, it's subjective, as they say. You know what I mean? What I seem, what might be something that seems morally correct to me might not be to another person. Whatever the hell. But you know what is correct or not to do. You're more than welcome to operate in good or in bad faith. But I will say, I do think it is silly to think that there are no consequences for that. And I'm not saying that like in a fear mongering way, but I'm just like, you know, it's one thing to do something in a state of ignorance, but it's another to do something knowing that what you were doing is not morally correct. And when the boomerang comes right back, you know? And I'm not saying this in a place of wanting to seem as though, like, I'm, like, all, like, righteous or anything of this nature. I'm a human being and I learn each and every single day. But, you know, going back to the sun, to be the sun is to, like I said, to be true to myself. And to be true to myself is to do the things that I know to be true. And to be true to myself means to be true to others. It's getting so loud outside and it's kind of annoying, but you know. Yeah, I'm a student, I'm learning each and every single day. And each and every single day I learn to be the sun. It's so loud outside, I swear to God. But anyway, it's still a beautiful day nonetheless. Happy Mercury Day!